Today's episode of the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast is brought to you by BioPro, Hidden House Coffee, and Next Gen Peptides. Enjoy the show.
How do I know if I'm a good man or not, though? I don't feel like if I'm equipped to give advice on that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll find that out.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I think you asking that question answers that.
100%.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I
feel
try
like-
my best. But
Well, you got to remember too, is like, bro, like, if you would have told me 15 years ago that oh, thank you for doing that offer.
What's up? Making some money?
I know. If you would have told me 15 years ago that, like, Jordan and I would be sitting in a room talking about our feelings and, like, being a good dude and a good dad, I would have laughed at you, man. Like,
Yeah.
I was not a very good dude. Me
neither.
And so we all have those stories, right? Like, I was the epitome of, like, a stupid Marine, drunk all the time. I would fight anyone, hooking up with girls just because I could. I didn't care who was in my, like, path of destruction.
Yeah.
But I always had my faith, which is very silly, right? Like, because
Yeah.
those two don't live in the same place.
Yeah.
But I thought they did because I was better off than my Marine buddies.
Yeah.
And so, like, anyone's qualified to even try to be a good person, right?
yeah, no, for sure.
Well, not only that, like, I was listening to the things you just said, just the fact that you're saying that, like, as a pro athlete, you're not better than somebody else just because you're good at that one modality.
Yeah.
Like, just like you said, like, there's people that are good plumbers, there's people that are good, all these different things. You just happen to be good at something that's more televised
Yeah.
than something else. So, yeah, dude. So, just starting off, like, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
So I'm born and raised in Johannesburg, South Africa. Yeah, my whole family still lives out there. My sister's visiting me right now, but she leaves back to South Africa tomorrow. So kind of the timeline of this trip kind of messed up. So I had to say goodbye to her on Friday. But yeah, grew up there, started Jiu-Jitsu there. My dad was my first coach. He's a black belt now. So yeah, that's kind of where the story begins, and where it was until about 4 years ago, around about 4 years ago when I moved to the US.
How old were you when you started?
5.
Holy smokes.
5 years old. Yeah. So 20 years of jiu-jitsu now.
That's crazy.
What do you think about 5-year-olds starting jiu-jitsu that young?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's good. Like at that stage, you're not really doing jiu-jitsu. It's more like games and stuff. Like you kind of learning how to move correctly. My dad never put any pressure on me to compete. I didn't compete until I was a late teenager, and I was of my own, I wanted to compete, so I started competing. My dad grew up in a rougher area, got into a lot of fights in school growing up. So it was important that my sister and I had a way of defending ourselves. It was a good skill that he was like, you never have to teach, you never have to compete, but it's a skill that you'll have if you need it.
Yeah.
And so I actually disliked jiu-jitsu very much from the age of 5 until about 12 or 13. And he was like, well, tough luck, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad he did, because obviously jiu-jitsu is great and it's something I do as a job now. But I think it teaches you a lot outside of jiu-jitsu as well. Character building, problem solving, a lot of things that translate well into the world outside of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because I'm actually going through that with my daughter right now. She's just turned 7, and she started jiu-jitsu when she was 5. But I had that kind of like that mindset of like, I don't want to force her yet, because she's only 5.
Yeah.
She's a female, and the class is predominantly little boys, and, she just didn't feel comfortable. So she did it on and off for a few months, and then I was like, all right, let's just take a break, And now she's been back, and then my 4-year-old, he does it, and dude, he's a little freaking beast. Like, dude, the way he moves, I'm just like, how did you know that?
Yeah.
Like, dude, he'll snatch singles, he'll take people down, he'll like circle to take their back. I was like, where did you learn this? But he loves it. She's kind of at this stage where she just got bumped up to the bigger class.
Yeah.
And so now she's freaked out. And my wife and I are trying to like navigate, like, how do we do that? Because she broke her arm last year.
Oh, wow.
And so she's
Not
got
in
like
jiu-jitsu.
Not in jiu-jitsu. She
Okay.
fell out of my freaking truck.
Oh, no.
And just like planted her arm, and she snapped her humerus. They said it was the surgeon said there's like 3 stages of arm breaks, and she had the worst.
Damn.
And she was only 6 at the time.
Yeah.
And so ever since she went through that arm break, she's like the little kid that would be jumping from playground set to playground, like no fear. Post arm break, she's always like very hesitant. She doesn't even want to go on like roller coasters anymore. And so jiu-jitsu, when she got moved up, some of those kids are nasty.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, they're the 9-year-olds that have been training since they were 5. Dude, 4 years of jiu-jitsu at that age, like
Yeah.
they're taking you down, they're mounting you, they're doing arm bars, Kimuras, Americana. I'm like, you know, and so now she's freaked out and just doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
And so we're at this weird point now where she's going to class tomorrow, and she'll only do it if I'm on the mat.
Yeah.
I'm like her safety, because obviously, like I definitely tend to gravitate towards
Yeah,
where
of
she's at
course.
more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Solely just because of that arm. Post the arm, I was like, dude, you got to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like with my son, when I'm on the mat, he calls me coach. Even with her, like it's coach. It's not. There's no dad.
Yeah.
But all that to say, we're trying to figure out how to navigate that with her because
Yeah.
it's like a safety thing for her. But I also don't want her to, as a dad, I want to be able to use this as a moment that kind of teaches her.
Yeah.
Like there was some uncomfortableness to this. There was still a way for you to figure out how to like achieve it.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah. I think stuff with girls too. Like my sister, my dad allowed her to stop for a long time.
Okay.
We started together and then she was like, no, I want to do like dancing instead. So she did ballet and like all kinds of dancing for a long time. So she stopped, I want to say from maybe the age of like 9 or 10 until she was 18.
Oh, so she stopped for a long time.
She stopped for a long time. And then she had an injury that didn't allow her to, something happened with her feet and she couldn't dance anymore. And so at that stage, I was like really into the jiu-jitsu, trying to get into competing internationally. And she was like, hey, let me give this a try again.
Okay.
And now she's doing this competitively as well. I mean, she won brown belt pans this year. She did well at Worlds as well, double bronze, I believe. So, and that, again, that was not of like anyone forcing her. It was just like, hey, I would like to try this again.
Yeah.
So I think it's different with boys. I think it's definitely more important if it's like a contact thing. Be like, okay, push through it and, you know, be tough. Because at the end of the day, you want to raise your sons to be the leader of his house and, you know, to be a good man. But with girls, they are also a little bit more sensitive, and you're like, you want to teach good character, but you also don't want to push them so hard that they're like, you know, completely want to shy away from things, you know?
Yeah.
So that's definitely a tough one.
I know my wife's actually the one that's like pushing to not let her stop.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting. I thought it would have been me.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to ever force my kids to do something that I like.
Yes.
So I think that's why I'm a little less on the pushy side.
Yeah.
I'm wanting her to like push because I want her to be able to overcome a fear.
Yes.
And so it's just like this weird dynamic. And so I told her, I was like, okay, I met her in the middle and my wife met in the middle. And I said, okay, instead of twice a week, let's just commit to the Tuesday class. I will be on that mat with you every time. I'm not going to like shelter you. You're still going to have to do everything just like everyone else. But I was like, I will be there to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
And so as of right now, that seems to be okay. So it's just like one of those interesting things. Cause I'm like, dude, I don't know how to navigate this. Like no one told me how to tell my 7-year-old to go do this, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And it sounds like it's something so simple, but it's not, cause it's the mindset behind it. And that's what my wife's point is. She's like, I don't want her thinking anytime there's a problem or a fear, she can just quit.
Give up. Yeah.
And I was like, you're also not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. I think at least for me growing up, there were things where it was like, if I asked my parents to do something and they said yes, then I couldn't quit. So like my dad would never force me to do something I had no interest in. But if I went and I asked him, so for instance, like playing guitar, I asked him, I was like, hey, I want to learn how to play the guitar. So he bought me the guitar, started taking me to lessons. And I was like, yeah, I don't like this. And he's like, well, too bad. Like I bought the guitar, you wanted to do this. So I played guitar until I finished high school. He was like, when you finish high school and you move out, then you can stop. But until then, you asked me for this, so you're playing guitar. And I haven't played since I finished high school. But you know what? I had to finish it because I asked him for that. So I think maybe that's where it becomes where it's like, okay, if you want something, you tell me this is what you want, and I help you to start doing that thing.
Yeah.
Then you have to see that thing through. You know.
Yeah, that was me as a kid. I asked my dad to do something. It was like I asked him to do something, and it was like really difficult. And I didn't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
It was like every weekend I didn't want to go, and I worked myself up to the point where I made myself throw up. I was like 8 years old. I like made myself throw up, and my dad's like, "Okay, cool. Like, let's spit the throw up out of your mouth, and then like grab your stuff. You're going."
Yeah.
And I was like, but looking back on that moment, I I don't regret a second of it. I tell
Yeah.
them all the time, like, dude, that's one of my like favorite moments from childhood is because
Yeah.
it taught me how to push through that.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
keep a promise that I made.
Yeah.
But okay, so you started doing jiu-jitsu. You said you didn't like it growing up. When did that change occur, and like what do you think happened? Like how did that?
I think like with anything in life, like when you're not good at something, it's less enjoyable. You know, so at first you're doing something, maybe you're doing with people who've already been doing it. You're getting beat up. So like for me, that wasn't enjoyable. At least in my case. So my dad started teaching us. We had a big enough property where we had a gym at home. My dad loved it. And so we would wake up early before he had to go to work. He's like, okay, let's go upstairs and we'll do some training. So I was like, I don't want to wake up early. I don't want to go train. So for me, it was like I was lazy. You know what I mean? Very chubby, like kid, didn't want to do much. So I think those things together, not being very good and also just being lazy. You know, my dad's always been very active. And then as I got older, the longer I was doing it, obviously, the better and better I got. And that's when I started to really enjoy it. I also always like knew that I never wanted to do anything like office jobby. You know, like I was never like really paid attention in school. I was homeschooled, which was even probably worse for my mom. I mean, I loved it. I think they had a good time too, but I just never wanted to do any schoolwork. So I was like, I definitely have to do something like either working with my hands or like in sports. So I thought I was going to be a professional rugby player because in South Africa, that's what like the main sport is. Rugby, you grow up, you want to play rugby. I was never very good at that. So early on, I did some carpentry stuff. I was very interested in that. And, you know, later down the line, when deciding whether or not I was going to go and compete internationally or was I going to go to Australia and go to carpentry school and just do carpentry, like that was a big decision in my life. I was like, I don't know which one I'm going to take, you know? So that was a big thing. I was into riding mountain bikes a lot. My dad, something that he also liked to do. So I started a business when I was 15, 16 years old. I got my like mechanic license to fix bicycles, and I opened like a shop from my garage and fixed bicycles for like a year. Saved some money from that. And then all this time I was doing jiu-jitsu. And once I decided, okay, I'm going to go like trying to full-time into jiu-jitsu, that gym that I was growing up in was like a garage size. I took all the savings that I got from fixing bicycles and I like expanded the gym and opened the gym. So that was like, even if I didn't compete, I was like, you know, I like jiu-jitsu. I think I can use this to make a living now. So I started this little gym in 2018, I believe. Started with 2 students, and my dad now runs the gym since I'm over here. And I think they're at like almost 100 students, but it's like, the gym is small. It's like the size of this room, you know?
Wow, that's sick though.
So yeah, so I probably at around the age of 16 is when I really started to enjoy it and be like, man, I can make something out of this. I didn't know at the time it was going to be as a competitive like jiu-jitsu practitioner internationally. I was just like, I think I can make a living whether it's teaching or doing that, you know. So probably around 16 where I really started to kind of take things off.
Dude, that's insane.
Wow.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I like that story.
But yeah, I just always trying to make money doing something by myself. I never wanted to work for anyone, but my dad works for himself, and he was like, yeah, you never want to work for someone. So I was like, yeah, my dad said it's bad to work for someone. I want to work for myself, you know?
Dude, everything that you're saying so far, I do want to kind of circle back because we talk about it a lot on this podcast, but you're talking about a lot of this stuff that you grew up with, right? Or that your dad instilled in you. And we talk about this, but like we also had really fantastic dads.
Yeah.
And my dad was a Marine. I went in the Marine Corps. My dad has been his own business owner since he was 22. I opened my first business at 22.
Yeah.
And there's all these things that are very similar, that the power of being a good dad, like, can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my dad is my best friend. That the hardest thing about moving to the United States was not being able to see my dad every day. I mean, as long as I can remember, like I was saying, I was homeschooled. For the longest time, my dad was like, yeah, it's fine. He told my mom, don't worry about school. Like, you just come to work with me. So like from the age of 2 years old, 3 years old, my dad would go to work. I would go with him. Like he's building, doing whatever he's doing. I'm standing on the job site with him in a diaper with a hard hat. So like, as long as I can remember, just everything he's done, I've been there with him. You know, things that he would do with his friends, he would take me along. Like I said, with the mountain biking, before I could walk, he hooked a trailer up to his bike, put me in the back. I wasn't even strong enough to hold myself in a seated position. Like he strapped me in and would just go out and do things. But I was there, you know. So I think it played a huge role in, you know, shaping me into the person that I am today. He didn't grow up being very close to his dad, and so he wanted to raise his children in a way that he wasn't brought up, you know. And I think he did a fantastic job with that. My dad's one of the hardest working people I know to this day. I mean, I don't know how he fits in as much as he does. And so it's great for me, even still, like when I'm feeling discouraged or, you know, worried about something, I just look at my dad and be like, man, if he can do it, I can do it. You know, it's amazing to have someone like that as a role model in your life, for sure.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. Because how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, so I'm 35. You're
38.
Yeah, 38, 40.
We don't need to
40
talk about
plus years old. we were both talking how, like, this was like a month ago, and I was like, dude, I'm 35 years old, and I still call my dad for advice. Like, I like, hey, what should I do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's funny, like, you know, as a kid, I'm like, one day I'm going to be my own adult. I'm going to grow up and do it. And I'm like, I mean, my dad's one of my best friends too. I mean, they moved so right before I got married, almost 8 years ago, they moved up to Northern California. And I was like, bro, you're leaving me? Are you kidding me right now?
It's like 10 hours away though.
Yeah, it's like 10 hours away.
Close.
Okay.
And so, yeah, California's weird. It was like 10 plus hours away. And I was like, you're leaving me, bro? But yeah, it was the same thing. But I'm like, to this day, I'll still call him and be like, hey, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
Like, I just need your advice. Or, hey, like, Dad, I'm just struggling. I just don't think I'm not crushing it right now. And just a little bit of his wisdom or his encouragement goes so far.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that though, and this is what we find to be like so important to talk about and have these conversations is, I say it all the time, but my wife had the opposite.
Yeah.
Her dad was in and out, drugs. You know, she grew up wondering, is my dad going to be here?
Yeah.
You know, like all those things. And then to see the relationship she has with my dad now is so crazy to me because I would have never understood it. Yeah. Because to me, I'm like, oh, it's just my dad.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's what he does. He, like yesterday after the seminar, he has this belt that the VA hospital, like for veterans, gave him, and it's like an electro stem thing. And then he found this like Amish cream that has like magnesium in it. And it goes like straight to your freaking bone. And so, you know, here I am like laying on the ground. My dad's busy doing whatever he's doing. He drove to my house, like taught me how to use the different settings on the belt, showed my wife the different component, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But still to this day, like, but to see that relate, like to me, that's just normal. It's just what my dad does, right? But then on the flip side, my wife, I've met her dad maybe 5 times in 14 years. Yeah. Like or 13 years, maybe, you know, and one of them was our wedding. Yeah. And, you know, she now, it's like the most valuable thing she has ever said to me. And I don't even think she knows this. So hopefully she listens to this, but, cause there's days where like, you know, I'm talking about not knowing what to do with my 7-year-old in jiu-jitsu, or Jordan and I will talk about like, one of our kids is just going through this mental phase, right? And they're just challenging at every point. And so there's days where you're just like, dude, like, I don't know. I'm going to bash my head against something because I don't know what the heck to do. She told me watching how I am a father to our children has been healing for her because she didn't have that in her life. Yeah. And when she said that to me, it was just like this radical flip in my mind where I was like, oh my gosh, like, what I think is normal as a dad is obviously not as normal as we're discovering more and more. Yeah. And it's something that, again, I don't even think I ever told her how much of an impact that had on me. Because even still to this day, when there's moments where I'm like, dude, I'm failing as a dad. Yeah. Like I think back to that comment she said, and I was like, oh, yeah, you're going to fail. But it's how you actually, you know, recover from that that matters. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if we ever asked you, Dan, about, did you have a good dad or in your life? No.
My dad was in and out of my life until 9, and then he left. I actually haven't spoken to him since I was 9. So he's probably,
oh shoot.
I'm sure he's passed away. He was much older than my mom.
Okay.
So when he left, I'm sure me and your wife
similar.
Yeah, had very similar stories.
So how do you take that into fatherhood for you now then?
So for me, I take it probably like Luke's dad. He didn't have a good relationship with your granddad.
Yeah,
right?
They haven't spoken in years.
Way is I want to have the relationship with my son that I never had. So, it does like drive me.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a positive way.
Yeah.
I think like it's funny. I was talking about this with my buddy Charles last night at the Super Bowl. Um, we can act out as like an upset 10, 12, 13, 15-year old in our 41-year-old body.
Yeah.
Or as men, we can just go, it is what it is to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And understand, like, I forgive him. There's no hard feelings, right? There honestly isn't. And if I saw him, it'd be no beef. There's no fight or anything like that. And then, be appreciative of the past, but also reconcile that in the present. That's just not how I'm going to reflect.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the 180.
Yeah.
Right. So, like there's a picture of me, my Little League baseball. There's a picture of me in Little League baseball. My mom had it with her whole life. Me and my mom had a rocky relationship too, till a few years ago. But my mom, she sees that picture and she goes, "Look how happy you were, Daniel, playing baseball." And I remember that picture as being, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, dude. I'm just going to just a little bit.
Yeah. And I remember that picture being, that was actually one of the saddest days. Because everyone's dad was there except mine.
Yeah.
Right. And my mom just dropped me off, and then I got picked, and I got dropped off later by another family. So if you look at that picture, that's me without a smile. It's hilarious. I mean, I'll take a picture and send it to you guys, but but it's sitting in my like mantle.
Mm.
Dude, it's just a reminder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these conversations and like the way you were brought up, again, the power in those stories is why Jordan and I show up like day in and day out for this platform, right? It's not to become the next Joe Rogan. I mean, that'd be sick, but like, it's to be able to take all of our life experiences and create this melting pot that shows people like, hey, if you didn't have a dad, you still can choose to break that cycle.
Yeah.
Right.
If you didn't have a mom, you could choose to break that cycle, right? Like it's just a collective effort of constantly working. Like Luke, you asked a question or said something at the very beginning of how do you know you're like a good guy, right? Even just asking those questions, because Jordan and I have interviewed a lot of dudes now, and some would never have asked that question, and yet they probably think they're a really good dude. I'm not going to say if they are or not, but like they didn't even ask that question. Like for him and I to sit on this platform, good dude, formerly good dude, good dad, dude, it puts us like in a like a checks and balance, right? Like because we can't sit here and have these conversations and then leave this room and be a total jackass.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, I think it even makes me think about like, I mean, I don't know what your guys' like faith is, if you're Christian or not. I was brought up in a Christian family, and I'm definitely not as good about it as I should be. I believe, but I'm lazy to go to church sometimes, and I'm lazy to read. But there's a Bible verse, and I don't know where it is. And my dad used to say this to me all the time. When you're like, the Bible says that nobody is good, not even one person. Like you can think that you're good, and you're doing good things, but at the end of the day, every person makes mistakes and does wrong things. And I think it's like you said, where it's recognizing that you make those mistakes and trying, with the help of the Lord to get better and not to make those mistakes again. And I think that's really what it's about, because like you said, you can think you're a good person, but when you're so sure that you're a good person, you're not reflecting on the mistakes that you're making.
Correct.
And then you don't know how to correct those mistakes. So I think it's important, yes, you're trying to be the best person that you can be, but realizing that, okay, like I need to be able to reflect and see what mistakes I'm making in order to get better in the future.
Yeah, I love that. It's funny because this almost ties into like what you were talking about at the seminar the other day. You're like, I don't focus on what he's good at. I focus on his weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because if I'm focusing on what he's good at, then it's gonna hinder me from making the move or doing the things that I need to do that I feel like I can win that competition. And I feel like that's there's in the Bible where he goes, why do you call me good teacher? No one is good. That same exact thing where it's like you need to be able to reflect on it but not dwell on it to keep you from moving forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude, I love that.
Yeah, that's good.
What's up, guys? Jordan here from the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. Huge shout out to our sponsor, BioPro. Ben and I have been on it for a while now, but I got to tell you this. Nothing is more important to a dad than sleep. We usually don't get a lot of it, and it's usually not great quality. But ever since I started taking BioPro plus cortisol, my sleep has been phenomenal. So go check them out in our show notes down below. There are a few things in life that I enjoy more, and I argue any man enjoys more than a good cup of coffee in the morning. That's why I use veteran-owned and operated Hidden House Coffee. Hidden House Coffee roasts here in Santa Ana, California. They have locations in Santa Ana, San Juan, or San Clemente. But you can go to hiddenhousecoffee.com and use GDGD on your checkout to receive a discount. I highly recommend going with their coffee subscription. But yes, if you want a great cup of coffee, not a good cup of coffee, a great cup of coffee, go to hiddenhousecoffee.com. Thank you to our sponsors, NextGen. NextGen Industries is committed to advancing longevity, wellness, and strength through precision-driven innovation. Select products are USA finished and manufactured, meaning they are held to a pharmacy-grade, FDA compounding pharmacy standard. Each product is sterile, isotonic, and pH balanced, rigorously tested for purity and quality, and provided a certificate of analysis. That's because at NextGen Industries, transparency, performance, and long-term health come first.
Let's jump back into you making the step from deciding if you wanted to be an international competitor and to moving to America.
Yeah, so I was sitting at a breakfast shop one day with my dad and my grandma. My family is all very close, so my grandma lives between my dad's house and my uncle's house. Okay. And so we were having breakfast, and I was like on my phone, and I saw an ad for ADCC trials pop up on my phone, and I'd never like heard about it before, didn't know what it was. I'd done a couple local competitions, and it was in Poland. And I said to my dad, I was like, "Hey, what is this? Like, we should do this." And he looked at me, he was like, "No, like that's not for us. Like that's." And I was like, "No, like I want to do it." And he was like, "Okay." So we finished breakfast, we went home, we did some research, and we were like, "Okay, like let's see how we can do." And so we started training really hard. Had no idea about anything at the time, cutting weight, like just absolutely no clue. So we went in, and I was so worried about not making weight that I entered minus 99 kilos. At the time I was 17, and I came in. So the cutoff for minus 99 is 217 pounds. I weighed in at like 180 pounds.
Oh, shoot.
Right. And I was like, okay, well, I made weight. Everyone's looking at me like, dude, why did you sign up for this division? I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to miss weight. They're like, what are you talking about? So I'm like this 17-year-old kid, like terrified. I walk into this like rec center in the middle of Poland. There's just these giant dudes in there, and I'm like, what have I done? And I went out there, and I was terrified. I won my first match, and I was like, dude, like I can't believe it, I won. And then they call my name, and there's just like this bear-looking dude, like long hair Viking-looking dude, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be tough. And I was just terrified, and I got submitted in like 5 seconds. Like I walked in, and he just heel hooked me. And my dad was like, okay, that's fine. Like, but similar to what I told you, is like, you asked for this. Like, this is not the last time we're doing this now. Like, we came here all this way. Like, now we're going to do this until you win. And I felt the same way. I was like, okay, like I won the first match. There's a lot of things we can work on, but I think we can do better. So I went home, obviously started doing a lot more research, learned how to cut weight properly. And I trained really, really hard. I mean, I was training 3-4 times a day. I was teaching, eating so clean. If I look back at it, like at 18 or 19 years old, waiting the next 2 years to do that second one, I didn't leave like any stone unturned,
Yeah.
And I did really well, went back the second time, won 3 matches that time and lost the 4th.
Dang.
And because I trained so hard, my dad and I went back to the hotel after that, and I was just seriously considering just quitting, because I was like, I did everything that I possibly could. Like, there's no way I could work any harder than that, and I still didn't win. And at the time, prior to that trials, we had planned on taking a trip to New York City to visit John and Gordon, because that's where they were training at the time. But everything happened with COVID, and the whole trip got canceled. So I had a US visa, but I hadn't gone yet. So sitting in the hotel in Poland, my mom, she was on FaceTime because she didn't come with us. So I was sitting with my dad on the phone with my mom, and she was like, well, why don't you just fly straight from Poland to America and try and train with John and do some competitions over there and see how it goes. Like, if you don't like it, you can come home and, we'll figure something out. So that's what we decided to do. And I still remember, like, just talking about being best friends with my dad. Like, I didn't know when I was going to come home. Like, there was no plan. I just booked the flight there. I didn't have a flight home. And that was the first time I remember crying, because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to see my dad again. Like, he's going home, I'm going here. Like, I'm by myself. I don't know anybody in this country. Like, I'm just going, and I don't know what's going to happen. Had 5 days with the clothes in my bag. Had a carry-on bag. Had 3 sets of rash guards and like 2 t-shirts and a pair of shorts. And I flew in and I started training at RGA, Austin, Texas. And John was teaching there. And I got like a staph infection after training for 1 day. And I was like, oh, dude. Like, I just flew all the way here. And John's like, obviously you can't train. So I'm sitting on the side, taking notes as much as I can. And eventually, like, after 2 weeks, the infection clears up and I start training. And John was like, you know what, Luke, you couldn't train. You came in every day. You took notes. You studied the classes. Like, would you like to come and train at Roka? And I was like, what? Like, absolutely. That was like the coolest day of my life. Yeah. I was like, John invited me to train at Roka. And I remember just going there and getting smashed by Gordon, by Giancarlo. It was just like, what is happening, But at the same time, enjoying it. I was like, I can't believe that I'm getting this opportunity to, like, I was getting beat up, but at the same time, when you get beat up but you enjoy it at the same time, it's kind of weird. Like,
for sure.
Not everyone knows that feeling, but like, if you love jiu-jitsu, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I started developing really quickly, competed. I was here for probably about a month. And towards the end of my time, John was like, Luke, you've improved really well. Like, what are the chances that you can stay and train with the team full time? And that was like the magic words to my ears. I was like, I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I don't know what we have to do, but I'm not coming home. And he's like, okay. And my parents helped me out tremendously. I lived in a hostel for more than a year.
Dang.
I didn't have any transportation. I walked everywhere. I mean, I probably walked about 40,000 steps a day.
Gosh.
Walking to training 3 to 4 times a day. And when it was time to do trials again, I went in and I won and I submitted everybody. And it was just such a huge difference the way that John was coaching. And it's not to say that the people who I was training with at home are not good. It's just, there's levels to everything, and John is a very experienced coach training with these guys who have been at the top of their game for however many years. And that just made all the difference. And, it was crazy. So that was really just the beginning of everything. Winning that first trials, I couldn't believe it. I went home from that trials instead of coming back here, saw my dad, and it was like, it worked. Like, we did it, that was kind of the beginning of everything.
That is crazy. Dude, what was that like for you to not just not be from or going to a new country, but getting to just go train with like the mecca of jiu-jitsu people? Like, how did you stop from like being a fan?
So, I mean, I've never been like a huge fan of anybody, to be honest with you. Like, I liked Gordon's like jiu-jitsu, and I love the way that he competes, but I've never been a huge fan. Like, when I came, I didn't even take a photo with Gordon. The first photo that Gordon and I have together, he asked me to take because I was training every day, and he was like, Luke, let's take a photo. And I remember the day he took it and he posted it before class. I didn't look at it. I came to my phone after class, and I went from like 300 followers to like 10,000.
Oh my gosh.
So Gordon posted a photo and he was like, this is Luke Griffith. You don't know him, but you will. Like, I just remember that's all the caption said. I went from like 0 followers to 10,000 in like 2 hours.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's so nuts.
But yeah, so like I said to you, like that's something my dad said, like, it doesn't like something that growing up, my dad was like, like, if you think someone's intimidating, just think about it. Every morning you wake up and you go to sit on the toilet and you take it, so do they. Like, you're the same. Like, just because they're good at something doesn't mean they're any different. Like, you can be just as good, you know? So from a young age, I've never really thought of anyone like, oh, like that. Like, I'm a very, very big fan of his. Like, obviously, if someone's good at something, I respect that the work they've put into it has gotten them to a certain point. But I'm not the kind of guy that's going to, like, fanboy over someone, to that degree.
I like that.
That's awesome.
I've only fanboyed once, and that's when I got to go to the Ruka gym, and I'm a big UFC fan. Been watching it forever, and I remember walking in there. I was doing a workout, and I'm just like hitting the bag, and I'm like around all these UFC guys, and I was just like, I don't want to hit the bag anymore.
Yeah.
Like me hitting the bag compared to those guys. That was the only time I like got that, and I was like, oh, this is weird. And then I ended up just putting my headphones in and just doing my workout. But I just will never forget that as like a non-fighter. I was with all the fighters because I got invited.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is so sick. But I never obviously like went up to them and was like, hey, can we take a I definitely was not that.
Yeah. And not that I think there's anything wrong with that either. You know, like if you go out like and you meet someone, it's cool to take a photo with them. Like I don't think that's necessarily means like you're a huge fanboy. Like if you see someone and like you said, you respect them, like they've done something. I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you know, there's definitely some people who take it over the top where they're like someone becomes an idol, you know?
Yes.
And I just that for me is like I don't see any point in doing that.
Yeah.
That's insane. The fact that you lived in a hostel for almost a year, just walking everywhere.
Dude, there's some crazy stories from that hostel. So I don't drink, I don't do drugs, nothing like that. I've taken mushrooms once by accident, and I was in that hostel, bro. So what happened was every Sunday they would do something called family dinner, right? Where the manager of the hostel would just like order a bunch of stuff, and everyone could come and have dinner. And I got in like late one night. And there was like a bunch of pizza on the table, and you're like, yeah, there's food. And 2 boxes were separated from the rest. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. I was like, maybe there wasn't space on the other table, whatever. So I ate like 5 pieces of pizza. You know, like I've been in training all day. I was hungry. And I go back to like the room that I'm sleeping in. And I'm trying to fall asleep. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't feel good. And like after 30 minutes, I open my eyes and I'm just floating above myself, watching myself try to fall asleep. And I'm like, I'm dying. Like, this is it. I'm clocking out. And like the whole night, I'm just watching myself trying to fall asleep. And then I remember walking like down the sidewalk the next day, like following myself, walking down the sidewalk. And I did one of John's classes. And I have no recollection of what happened in the class. I just remember watching the class from like the ceiling. But yeah, it was crazy. I went back and then they were like, you know, I asked him, I was like, dude, was there something in it? He's like, oh yeah, dude, those ones had mushrooms on them. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that explains why I thought I was going to die for like 12 hours. So, yeah.
That sounds brutal.
Yeah.
So we're in your jiu-jitsu journey now. Like, what does that look like now? Because you went from living in a hostel, training that way, to obviously like where you're at now.
Yeah.
One of the things we like to talk about is
married. That's another part of it.
Yeah. We talk about like, people always see where you're at now.
Yeah.
They didn't see the grind work that you put in. And you're still grinding. It's just grinding in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you know, being the way I was for that amount of time definitely allowed me to be here. You know, I was single for most of the time that I was doing that. You know, I think with jiu-jitsu, it's really tough because you're either making money or you're making like nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're in the beginning stages of the sport, it's really hard to have a relationship or anything like that because anything that requires like support of you, like if I have to help out my partner with something, I have no money for myself. Like I can't, like I've got to get a job. I can't do jiu-jitsu. I have to get a job so I can help out with things. So I think it was very important that at that stage, like I didn't have any distractions. I could focus completely on training, and that actually showed. I was in a relationship for a short amount of time before 2022 ADCC. And man, make things really tough. I broke up with that girlfriend the same day ADCC ended. I lost, and I was like, yeah, this is not working. We're done. So I definitely think like when you're in the beginning stages of like working, it's tough because yes, you want to build your life with somebody, but at the same time with jiu-jitsu in the beginning, like I wouldn't want to have someone supporting me like that's a partner that's supporting me, you know. So working hard until I established myself at least at that point where I won trials, and I was like, okay, now I'm doing professional shows. I had my first Who's Number One match at that point. You know, so those first 3.5-ish years were like really just, okay, put my head down. I didn't do anything outside of jiu-jitsu. I didn't eat out. I didn't go out. I had like zero social life whatsoever. You know, whereas now, I'm a little bit more established. I still train, twice a day, and I lift. But I have my wife now. I still don't do much outside of training and spending time with her. But there is a little bit more room for kind of exploration with okay, maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday I'll take a day off and we'll go and do something like this. So I feel like I'm at the point now where, for the most part, I've developed a skill, to a point where I'm at that level, and now it's maintaining that skill and, of course, still building on. But it's not really like, okay, I'm trying to improve as much as I improved in those 4 years.
Right.
From purple belt to now, there was a lot of development. Whereas now it's a lot less noticeable, at least for me. I can see how far I went from purple to now. Whereas now I look back and I'm like, yeah, I'm improving for sure, but it's at a much slower rate than it was, when I first got here. Does
that bring frustration with it at all, though?
Yes and no. But also you have to realize, like, that's just the way it is. The better you get at something, the slower you're going to progress.
Yeah.
I suppose it also it does depend on what the thing is, but especially for jiu-jitsu, when you're going against higher and higher level people, the margins become much smaller.
Yeah.
Right.
So your development does slow a little bit. But I will say, training with John and Gordon, I mean, that development, even though it's small for us, if you compare it to other people, it's huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, just making sure that you never feel like, I think one thing that's important is never feel like you've arrived. As soon as you feel like, okay, I know everything, that's when you start to go downhill, because you stop learning. So yes, the rate of learning may be slightly slower than it was, but you have to realize that you'd never stop learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that you said, like, your progress at the beginning was crazy. That's kind of how I feel. I'm a hobbyist jiu-jitsu guy, right? But from like white to blue belt, I felt like, obviously, going from not knowing what to do to being able to understand.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have actually progressed the most after I got my purple belt.
Yeah.
And I've had my purple for 1.5 years now, and I feel like in this last 1.5 years, my growth has been like this compared to like those first 4 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm on year 6, but as a hobbyist, right? Like, my 6 years probably equal your first year, So the progress is, I think, as a hobbyist, is something that I had to learn for myself, and like the ego component of just realizing, yo, dude, like, you're not going to get as good at this thing as you are in your businesses, because your businesses take 95% of your time.
Yeah.
This takes 2%,
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring up some of the stuff you said yesterday, but like, for hobbyists out there, and people just wanting to better themselves, what's some like advice you could give to them?
Yeah, I think I was gonna add to what you said there. Even just talking about you spend most of your time in your business.
Mm-hmm.
I think anywhere where you invest time, that's where you're gonna see reward, right? So like a lot of people, I remember when I first joined the team, I asked Gordon, like, how much time should I spend doing jiu-jitsu versus how much time should I spend lifting? Like, what do you recommend? And he said to me, if you want to get good at jiu-jitsu, you do jiu-jitsu. If you want to get stronger, you lift weights. And he's like, that's really all it comes down to. It's like, what do you feel needs improvement? Because whatever amount of time you invest in something is how much you're going to reap the rewards of. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just the thing, being consistent. Like, for people who are new, that are hobbyists, if you want to improve, like, even if you can only commit to once a week, just make sure you commit to it. Don't skip that once a week, because now you don't train for 2 weeks. So if you can train once, commit to training once. If you want to train 3 times, make sure you go into those 3 sessions. The consistency is what's going to build your skill over time. And motivation never lasts, right? Everyone always asks, how do you stay motivated? I'm definitely not motivated all the time. It comes down to discipline.
Yeah.
So I don't, even if I want to do something, it's like if you don't want to go to work tomorrow, it doesn't matter. You have to get up and go to work.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? You have to decide beforehand that no matter how you feel, I'm still going to do this thing, right? It's the same for me. Like, I don't drink. I mean, I have no desire to drink, but like, if I go out, like, I pre-make the decision. Okay, I'm not gonna drink.
Yeah.
Because if I go into a situation and I'll decide in that situation what the best thing is to do, you're probably gonna fail when it comes to time to make the decision for right and wrong.
Yeah.
Right. But if I go into something already making that decision, I know when the person brings that thing up, all I have to say is no. I've already made the decision. I'm not going to do that, right? So I think it's the same with anything that's hard. Pre-making the decision makes a big difference.
That's huge. We just had a guy on not too long ago. He's a pastor now, but at one point he was the #1 rated male porn star in like the porn industry.
Wow.
Got radically saved,
That's
became
crazy.
a Christian, but he was like, he's one of the things that I took away that he said is like, I ended up doing it. He's like, there's a bunch of reasons, right? He had a horrible home life, all this different stuff, but he's like, I didn't have a reason to say no. So when I was approached with it, because I didn't have a reason to say no, I just said yes.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you were saying, like those predetermined decisions. Like today, this is not tooting my own horn or anything. This is normal for you guys.
Yeah.
I got up at 5:30. I read my Bible, and then I went to the gym. And it's like, did I want to do either one of those things? To be honest, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I did it because I predetermined, like, that's what my morning looks like tomorrow. I'm getting up here, I'm doing this, and then I'm coming to the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's those little predetermined decisions that make when it comes to those hard moments, your brain's like, oh, this is an easy decision because it's already made.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we refer to them as like micro deposits to the bank of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like all these little things that you're doing every single day are going to add up. And I think people just don't understand that sometimes. And if you're feeling stuck, you don't care about jiu-jitsu, like don't listen to the jiu-jitsu component. Listen to like what Luke is talking about with the deposits of yourself, like having the ability to think before you have to make a choice sounds very logical.
Yeah.
But
it's harder than you think.
It is, you know, but it takes a mindset to be willing to do that. And that's something Jordan and I want to always like keep kind of pushing and keep saying out loud is like, yo, you gotta like keep establishing yourself. Like you don't ever want to feel as if you're arrived, right?
Yeah.
You want to keep going in whatever that is. If it's business, your faith, your marriage, being a parent, if you have nothing going, like you still have to take that choice or make that choice and take that first step to be like, all right, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even going back to what you said too, like the things that you work on are the things that you're going to get good at. You know, like that's such a not just jiu-jitsu thing.
Yeah.
That's a life thing.
Yeah.
You know, where your time and effort goes, that's where things are going to grow. You know, if that's your marriage, is that relationship with your kids, is that relationship with your friends, you can use that for good, you can use that for bad, but wherever your attention is where you're going to see grow.
Yeah.
I actually needed to hear some of that from you today. That's why, dude, we love this podcast, man. Like Jordan and I will like leave almost every podcast and be like, oh, like that was awesome. Or I needed to hear that. Or I didn't think about it that way. But like about a month ago, I had just like this span of like, I would come home from training as after a long day of work, right? And life and parenting, I'd come home and my wife would be like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm just irritated. And she's like, why? Because I had like a bad night, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, what, like, why are you letting it bother you? I was like, because like, if I'm committing to something, I don't need to, as I've gotten older, I don't need to be the best in the room at what I'm doing. What I want to be is great at it. I don't need to be the best though.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but I'll come home and I'm like, oh, like this guy caught me in something and I knew he was going to do it, but I got lazy. Like just something like as if this is my job.
Yeah.
But I care, right? Like if I'm going to sacrifice time away from my family, like I care.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it's a commitment. Even though I only train like 2 to 3 times a week, those 2 nights that I go, the night classes, I'm sacrificing, my wife is sacrificing, and my children are sacrificing.
Yeah.
And so I want to get what I can out of it. So of course I'm gonna be frustrated because I'm sacrificing time away from my family.
Yeah.
And she'll gently remind me, just as like what you kind of just said. She's like, Ben, you're a dad, a business owner, and you train when you can. Like, what do you expect is going to happen?
Yeah.
And I say, well, because like that competitor side of me comes out, and I'm like, well, I should have never let him beat me. That's what I expect. And she'll just like tease me and be like, dude, get over it. Like, I'm sure you're fine. You know, like this isn't your life. And I was like, okay, that's fair.
Dude, at least your wife encourages me. When every day I get home from training, the first thing my wife asks, did you win? every single time. And I honestly don't think she cares, but she just like, she wants to know, like, did you win or not? And I always say yes. So even if it's not true.
I love that. Yeah. Oh man. Well, dude, thank you so much for like taking the time to come out. Dan, thank you for setting this up.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
Really
no,
appreciate
it was awesome, dude. And I think what's super cool, we told our friend Jalen this. He's a UFC fighter, and he'll come to the gym, and like, he just every time he comes to the gym, not that you guys are doing it for this reason, but you're gaining like fans for life, right? Well, as long as you're not a freaking a-hole of a person.
Yeah.
But like, just like yesterday with the gym, like I had so many of the guys and even the girls all text me and just said, like, one, how much they loved learning from you, but two, like the way you carried yourself. I heard that probably at least 12 times.
Thank you.
Just want to give you that, like, a little encouragement, not that you asked for it, but
yeah, dude, your humility and your heart posture, and you're incredibly, like, this sounds lame because it's gonna make me sound, you're incredibly intelligent for a 25-year-old, like, very, the way that you were explaining things, one, you're very articulate, you're very thoughtful behind what you say, and what you say has actually a tremendous amount of impact. Like, just even this little bit, watching you talk.
Thank you.
What you say it effectively, and you say it with power and conviction behind it, which not many people have. So,
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Very impressive, man.
Thank you.
You got 2 new fans here too.
Yeah,
You
dude,
guys,
big
I
time.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I just told Ben I was at home watching your some of your matches last night, and I was like, dude, that's gangster.
Yeah. Damn, bro. I'm never going to get away from that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I just want to share one thing about Luke.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great athletes in this world, obviously, right? A lot of great BJJ practitioners, grapplers, whatever you want to call it, A lot of greats.
Yeah.
I'll put every cent that I have that Luke has one of the highest quality character, morals, ethics that I've ever met.
Yeah.
Not just in the BJJ world. I think we limit him when we say that.
Yeah.
Just as a good dude.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
I always tell people, this is kind of a ghetto way of saying it. Well, how do you know you really trust somebody? You trust them with your money, you trust them with your wife, and you trust them with your kids. Luke's in that circle for me.
Yeah.
So he's someone that I'm super proud of, and I text him this all the time. I'm super proud of you, bro.
Yeah.
After CJI, he was kind of down on himself. He's like, dude, it was so. I'm like, dude, I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah.
You went out there and you wrecked somebody. Unfortunately, it was the little Asian kid.
Oh, that's funny. You're allowed to say that.
But Luke, I think we're going to see a run in 2026 that is going to be. I'm not going to, and I don't want to say no, but I think we're going to see a run.
Yeah.
A run for the ages.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, thank you. Big thank you. Obviously, you guys know Dan. Me and Dan have known each other probably about a year now. And it's awesome to work with people who have such good family values. They're just good people,
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are good at things, like we spoke about, that don't care about anything except themselves. And Dan's a very selfless person. He's never asked me for anything. He just offers me help whenever. Even if I don't need it, he's just always there. So it's great to work with people who are like that. So
Yeah.
if any of the viewers are hurting, and you guys want some peptides.
Yeah,
definitely.
Make sure you guys hit up Next Gen. Dan's your man. And also, it's cool to know that people behind these brands are actually good people.
Yeah.
It makes it easier to work with brands when you know the quality of the people behind it.
100%. Well, and dude, we'll kind of end it here, but you've said it in a different way, and you just said it too, and Jordan and I have said it numerous times. But like, what you do doesn't define you.
Yeah.
It's just what you do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make. I'm not Ben, the business owner, coffee guy that likes jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I'm Ben, the husband, father, and trying to be like a great man.
Yeah.
But those happen to just be the things I'm doing, but it doesn't define what you do.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think we need to make that clear, and people get stuck on that. They get stuck on a title.
Yeah.
They get stuck on whatever, and I could care less what you do, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
We'll link everything down below. I'll put your social media. I might even put your last match in there.
Yeah.
We'll put Next Gen. I'll put his code on the Next Gen.
BJJ Fanatics, Luke's stuff is up on there as well.
You guys don't even have to worry about that, man.
No, we want that to all happen.
Thank you.
What is your Instagram if someone's only listening? Not
It's Luke_Griffith JJ.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I will
it's-
throw that everything in the show notes.
Next Gen 2.0.
Next Gen Research 2.0.
Next Gen
There
Research
it is.
2.0.
No,
Can't keep
by
up,
the
man.
next episode, there'll be a 3.0.
Oh man. Any last thoughts? No?
No, just a huge thank you to you guys for having me on. It was a privilege to be able to talk with like-minded people, and it was a really good time. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, go follow Luke. Be fans for life. I know I am. And as always, be a good dude.